welcome back to the Tiger Den. I apologize for that slightly slow delay. I had to fight a printer. I don't know if you guys can hear it in the background. Probably not, because it's fairly quiet. My mic's pretty good about blocking out extra background noises. But the printer, I was working on printing out my 16 by 20 and 20 by 16 paintings, so that way I can put them in a binder to kind of display them at art shows without having to display the whole painting. Well, I had to change the ink because the color died. It was just printing in blue. So I changed the ink, and then for like 5 minutes, it's processing that the ink was changed and wouldn't print. So I got it going now. It's printing. We're good. Sheriff, I know you're not here because you had to run to go get kiddo, but congratulations on your first. And for Sheriff and Matt, here are your hydrates. Water. I did 2 large sips. And that's okay, Matt. Thank you so much for popping in to say hello. I'm having an okay Friday. It's really warm, like really fucking warm. And I was going to mix paint today, but I figured I should get these done since they are due Monday. And then I got to take a canvas downstairs and get that framed because they have to be framed for my situation. And I also got to find the hardware. I just realized I didn't find the hardware for the frame. So I got to find the hardware in my big box of shit to put the frame on. Anyway, we're doing good. I'm having an okay day. We are going to finish up the last 4 postcards, and I think that's going to take us the whole hour and a half that I have to 2 hours, 2.5 hours, because I usually get done around 3:30, 3:15. So 2.5 hours. Hi, Twisted. Thank you so much for the hydrate. I shall hydrate again. Y'all got a rotation as soon as the timer ends. Anyway, we're going to get started on this one. It's about halfway done, and then I have the other 3 to work on. For this, we are onto the glass portion, so we're going to make it look like this, but with shininess. So I need the sky blue and a dark blue, probably also my shimmer blue, and then gouache white, which I don't think I took downstairs. Pretty sure I didn't take downstairs. I think it's just on the other side, other side of the room from me. And, oh my goodness, okay. And then we're going to go ahead and get it painted. So I'm going to start with do I want sky blue or lake blue? Let's go with sky blue. We need some sky blue, we need some indigo, maybe some titanium blue, just to get some different colorations on there. The gouache white, and then the sparkle blue. These paints up here I did make myself. I'm rather proud of them, except for the glitters. The glitters I still need a lot of work. But this one has like a red, green, and gold glitter, which is really pretty. And this one has just gold, and that one has black. They don't work as nicely as I could make them. I think I have to grind up the glitter a little bit more to make it thinner. I also plan on working on making which I had been grinding, a coffee paint. And yes, I'm still grinding it to try and get it finer and finer, just to make sure that the paint actually has the coloration and not just chunks mixed in with the gum arabic. So the finer powder I can make, the nicer the color will end up. And I might even make a batch where it's the coffee and the mica powder. And then I'm going to make a batch where it's just mica powder. So that way I can have that color for sure working, because I know how to mix mica powder watercolors. Then I also plan on making a lilac mica powder for this palette. I think that'll be all I need. So white, brown, black, and then a lilac with that purple, and then these 3 glitters and the gold. Anyway, I think my paint is now active enough, so we're going to go in with our size. Oh my god, what is this, 0? Size 2. Size 2 brush with that really light blue color. And we want to keep it nice and light, because we don't want this to be too much. It's supposed to be glass, not a super blue cup. And then I do have my water here, don't worry. That will help us keep it nice and light. And I do also have to cover up some of this pink that kind of bled out while we waited for it to dry with that blue. So how has everyone else's Fridays been going? Because I know mine it's been productive. I started laundry. I wrote my journal. We got donuts for breakfast, which is always tasty. And yeah, but I'm curious how your Fridays are going so far. I do have a craft show this weekend. I don't know if you guys are in Michigan or where you come from, but if you're going to the Holland Tulip Con craft or comic and toy show, then I will see you guys there. I will not have all of my art stuff as I am helping out a friend, but I'm going to have a few small things like the stickers and oh my gosh, stickers, bookmarks, and fairies in the bottle. Those will be all I'm selling at this particular con. Hopefully you guys will be there to kind of help support me. If not, you guys can always support me here. And if I finally make enough to pay for at least 1 month, 1 month of the internet, the website page cost, I will go ahead and start up the website after this convention. So I'll start it up next week sometime. I just want to make sure before I start it that I have enough for a few months of it running and not run out and have it die and then disappear while you guys are shopping. I know the website's going to be the best thing for getting my art out there and kind of helping you guys see what I have available, but I am worried that if I don't make enough sales on it, that I won't have enough to pay for the website and then it becomes a moot point. So that is why the website has not been started yet. I have, as some of you know, started up a YouTube channel called Tiger Rosie Studios. That is just so I can stream on YouTube as well as Twitch and try and get some more views off of Twitch. I do have a couple videos that have nothing to do with lives. I have a short from a game I played the other day with my friends that apparently made 2.9k views. That is absolutely ridiculous, but it did it. And I have some time-lapse videos of my sketching and some painting. I do plan on making more time-lapse videos, and I plan on making a tutorial on how I make my watercolor paint, because I do a slightly different method than most people instruct, and I kind of took a couple different methods from different people to come up with my method. So I will be looking forward to making that for everyone. I'm just kind of lightening up this glass here a little bit, because we don't want too much pigment for the first layer of glass. And then I need to wait for that to dry. So while that's drying, I'm also going to work on a second one. So I'm going to work on the pumpkin pie one that I have here. And I think I'm going to start with the browns, which I want yellow brown. I do want a yellow ochre. And then a raw sienna, I think will be... No, let's go with coffee. And then I also need some beige and some red. Do I have a rose red? No. Oh, I do have a candy apple. I will use candy apple. And I think that'll be enough. I do the yellow ochre, Naples yellow. I do need Naples yellow for the rim. I'll do the apples, and then I will do the crust of the pie, and then I can kind of go in with the apple section and shouldn't touch the crust of the pie, and then we'll just kind of go from there. I don't know what else to tell you guys. It's been a long morning, and I'm already out of it, and this is the only coffee I've had today, and it's not fully drank from yet. It's like maybe a third of the way through. My son, I will tell you, is trying to get into Magic the Gathering. Twisted Dealer, please come teach him Magic the Gathering and teach him what it's like to lose, because he's beaten basically everyone in the house every time we've played against him. We'll see if I have luck. I don't play it that often, but I'm going to play with him after stream. So wish me luck on winning. That will be the goal, is getting a match won. Okay, so we're going to go with the... I wanted beige. I did water the beige. I'm going to start with the apples here. And I'm going to work on 2 of these consecutively so that way I can kind of get... So I can kind of get them done a little faster. Because if I can get these done fast enough, I can either swap to making watercolor paint, which I may do, because there's only 2 colors left. Well, 3, I guess. 2 colors, but like one of them's getting done 3 different ways. But I want to swap to watercolor making, or I will start the acrylic paint portion of the Rat Pig crossing piece. I'm not going to do the framing of the piece. I thought I would, but I decided not to on stream because I do need a drill and like or electric screwdriver or something similar to pull it out, and I didn't find the pieces for it yet, so I kind of gotta wait. At least until I'm downstairs, so I have all the tools I need. So I will be taking that downstairs with me. I didn't do much yesterday. I had my therapy appointment, and my therapist's big thing, which I want you guys to not necessarily feel obligated to help me with, but if you could help me with, I'd appreciate, is I need to start recognizing not the stuff I didn't do, but the stuff I did do. So if you guys could help point out like when I'm actually getting stuff done versus not getting stuff done. Like I feel guilty about not always cooking dinner or cleaning the house, and that is problematic in the sense that I'm not recognizing that even though I didn't get dinner done, I might have worked on my painting or my business, or I played with baby tiger and gave him a bath, or all the other stuff that I am doing instead of recognizing what I'm not. So if you guys want to help with that, you can. You don't have to. It's something I have to journal every day, and I'm not necessarily journaling on stream. So, you know, I would never journal on stream. Those are supposed to be personal thoughts, not stuff you advertise to everyone. But as I said earlier in the post on Harold's Corner in Discord, I do always make sure that the YouTube videos, so, you know, the last 4 streams or so, are on YouTube and the videos stay forever. So if you ever miss a stream and say it's like a month out and you kind of want to see what happened, just go to the YouTube channel and it'll be right there waiting for you. I did also set a delay to YouTube, so if you're watching on YouTube, I apologize. But I did set a delay there so that way it can do closed caption and make it more accessible to more people. Oh, and my tablet just closed all of my chats. I appreciate that, tablet. Totally not angry about that and not able to see anything. If I pull this up, there it goes. Okay, it came right back. Good. So we're going to go with the yellow-brown here. And I'm just going to add little drops while that Naples yellow is still light. So that way I can... It's supposed to be like a graham cracker crust with cinnamon on top of it. And as you can see, the little dots are spreading out a little bit, making them a little bit more blurry. Not everywhere, because I don't think I got enough water in some places. So I'm going to have to go in and kind of wet up a couple locations, but it creates more of a fuzzy look to it. And this water on the rim is the main reason that I need to make sure everything is separated before too much, because I don't want to, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to blend together the cup color with the juice on the inside. So this particular drink this is Thanksgiving. This particular drink for Thanksgiving is actually apple pie. So it's just apple cider with a graham crust with cinnamon on the very top and 2 apples on the inside. If you guys think that sounds amazing, I hope you guys will make the drink. I don't know if I will or not. I might. I haven't fully decided yet. Right now, I'm just laying down yellow ochre in all the places that the crust would be. I know that sounds weird. Why would you put yellow ochre where there's a brown crust? Well, if you actually look at it very closely, crust does have a slight yellow tinge to it. And then you build up the browns from there. This is just the base where it's like the lightest color of the pastry, not where it's actually cooked. So if you ever look at like pastry dough, it's not brown yet. It actually has a slight tint of yellow to it. So you lay down the yellow and then you slowly build up the brown. So where I'm going to place the brown right now, while it's still wet, I'm going to do a little bit of brown here, just so that way it kind of blends out. And then as it dries, I will do slightly more to kind of detail it a little bit. So you're just kind of dropping brown here and there, right where it'd be shadowed. And then I'm going to go in and lighten it up a little bit because that brown is really dark. But you'll see. You guys will see. Kind of makes it a little bit more natural looking. So I got to drop some yellow ochre a little bit on that crust on the edge. Blend this out a little bit. So kind of get some brown up here. Just a small touch. Kind of blend those out. And like I said, as it dries, we will go in and add some more brown, which will make it look darker. As it gets darker and darker, it'll look more realistic. Just trust me on that. All right, so this one looks dry enough, so we're going to swap. I know the beige on the apples is dry enough, but the rim and the crust is not, so I'm going to let that dry for a minute, and we're going to go back over here. The next color we want to touch in is indigo, and And we're just going to lightly lay indigo here and there on the rim of the cup. Just kind of giving that insinuation that there is some differences. And the darker the indigo, the less we want to put on there. I'm going to put a little triangle down here because they always have that little triangle going on. And this will have a little bit darker blues on here. And then I don't know why I do the rings. Not all cups have that ring going on, but I do it anyway. Just to give it a little bit more life, if you will. And then we're going to do a little bit of indigo on these outer rings. Or this outer portion. And we will be going in with that titanium blue to kind of add to those areas. So this wasn't that wet. We pretty much did a paste consistency, so we should be able to go in right away with this super dark blue. And again, you don't want to do a lot of this dark blue. You just want little areas here and there to kind of suggest where this cup is. Gotta be very careful not to do too much, because I easily do too much at times. There. And the last blue we're going to add is the sparkle blue that I made myself. This is just, and we have to add the gouache, but this is just the last blue we're adding. This is just going to give the cup a little shine. So that way when you see it in person, you can actually see shimmer and shine on it. So we're just going to kind of place this strategically here and there, just to get a nice shimmer on that glass. And I think that might be good. Do a little bit right here. Okay. So now we're going to let that dry for the blues fully. Oh, and I need to add the dark spots. I forgot about that on the strawberry. So we're actually going to take some coffee. Because strawberries aren't necessarily fully black with their dots. But I'm just going to add little tiny dots with the coffee color here. I don't have a sparkly coffee yet, and the strawberry was supposed to be the full piece. That's all glittery. But that's okay. So I will be making a coffee in my next batch of watercolor, which, by the way, the sink in my studio is not fixed, but the sink in the bathroom is gotten a new faucet because the old faucet was leaking to craziness. And because it's gotten a new sink, we are able to go ahead, and I'm going to do some dark green here. Do I want metallic dark green or do I want deep green? I think I'm going to go with metallic dark green because I haven't touched that at all. It is taller, so I am able to work on mixing colors and still being able to clean the full piece, which is very nice. So I want to add some dark green on this. I'm going to go ahead and get a smaller brush because I want it to be just a suggestion and not completely taking over the strawberry. I don't know if this brush will work 100%, mostly because of how tiny it is. It can't hold a lot of paint, but we're going to do the best we can. So I'm going to mix this color up now that it's soaked for a few seconds. That way I can get some of that pigment in the water and not just have a bunch of water here. And then I'm just going to go in and add little, oh yeah, it's too small. It doesn't do anything. I probably shouldn't put these under the brushes. That's a bad idea. I'm going to go in with the 3-0 brush now, just so hopefully I can get those nice thin lines, but actually be able to see them. Okay, so thin line, yep, thin line, thin line, thin line, thin line, and we're just going to kind of section off and outline these leaves a little bit, just to give them a little bit more definition here. I am going to say that right now, life isn't doing too good for my kids. I'm not going to give too many details, but let's just say a couple of them feel nauseous and are about to throw up and are not feeling the greatest. So unfortunately, we have a lot of them home today, but we're gonna have to see what we can do. Then I will have to write in my book that hubby had to go pick up a kid, And I know that makes no sense to you guys. Why would I write that in a book? It's a long story and not something I can discuss at the current moment. Nor do I really want to discuss it. I'm just doing it for protection more than anything. Okay, now the strawberry is outlined. And I think I'm going to go ahead and use my red here and outline the inner portion that's in the cup. So some of these do still look pretty wet. That has to do with the honey that I mix in with the watercolor. It does create a way to hold onto the water longer and creates that kind of shine that you see on the watercolor itself. I don't know what to do to fix that other than stop using honey, which I might do. I don't know. Honey just kind of holds on to the wetness a little longer is all. And I can technically add pans here in the middle, not lengthwise like these ones are, but horizontal. So that way I can add more colors, but right now I'm not going to be making a ton of colors. I need to decide what colors I want to do with my palette. Okay, so this is ready for gouache, so I'm going to set this off to the side just for a little bit while it dries with the other. This hasn't fully dried yet. The crust is still pretty wet, and so is the rim, but we can go ahead and we can work on the apples. And then, I don't know, do I want to mix up this filling yet? Well, I can go in and make some more small lines where the crust is. It'll blur out a little bit, but not so much that I won't be able to control it and get these finer details here. So I can go back in, it'll blend out, and then I can go back in with a darker brown to really give some more definition. So while it's still semi-wet, we can add these details in here. And then when I go in with that darker brown, it'll kind of create a little bit more emphasis on it. Some of these areas are drier than the others, which is okay. Kind of blend this out here. There we go. So we're just kind of getting that crust a little browner one step at a time. This one is a little too dark brown. That one's a little too dark brown. Okay, that looks better. Technically, okay, the rim is looking a little drier. I can work on the apples. Technically, I might be able to work on the juice, but I don't want the red of the apples to bleed into the juice. I could work on the cup, but I think I'm going to also get another one out and ready. The Valentine's one should be dry by the time I'm done with this section with the apples, just because it is just a small amount of blue that we added on there. And most of the blue isn't where the gouache will go. But Dr. Martin's pH bleed proof white is more accurate to what it's called. It shouldn't bleed on there, especially with most of the areas that we're putting it being fully dry by now. Okay, I'm going to add a tiny bit of red, so I'm going to swap to that 3-0 brush. Well, actually, I might swap to the 20-0. And I'm just going to add this very, very thin line of red along these ones, because I don't want it to bleed into the crust, but I also want to suggest that they aren't fully peeled all the way, which it depending on who's cooking the pie, the apple pie, will depend on whether or not they peel the crust or the skin. It depends on what I feel like. Sometimes I'll peel the skin, sometimes I won't. It's just how I'm feeling at the time. Do I want to put in the extra effort, basically? I haven't made an apple pie in forever. I should probably make another one again. Especially since I just missed the holidays. I should start planning to do that. I don't know why I don't. I don't do a lot of things that I don't know why. And let's be honest, that's why I need to start looking at what I am doing, because I'm only seeing what I don't. Okay, thinner line on the bottom to suggest the apple facing outward. This one has a thin line all the way around. And this one has a thicker one on top to also suggest this one facing outward. Okay, that looks good. When the crust fully dries, I can mix in, I'm actually going to look up apple pie filling. I think it's like a tannish brown, which is basically what I did for the crust, but I know it looks different than the crust. So let's do apple pie slice. And we're going to Google it, and it is, it's like a yellowish crust with like a brown cinnamon around the apples, which makes sense because it's a cinnamon thing. Raw sienna looks to be like my best bet to get it as accurately as possible, so I'm glad I wet the raw sienna. Because apple pies are basically all brown. Good lord. I mean, it's fine. It's not a big deal. It's just, wow. That's a lot of the same color. Okay, I will close that for referencing. And now that that red is done, I'm going to swap back over to the Valentine's one for the gouache, and that should hopefully finish drying that skin, or that pastry stuff. So I like starting with the smaller brush with the gouache, just to kind of get it a little bit more focused on the detail, and then I'll move up to the 3-0 brush and add the big details. So I like adding the small ones first. This is the tiny dots around the stuff on the inside, and then I will do bigger ones a little bit later here. But whatever's inside this particular drink, which is champagne, will always have a lot of bubbles around it. So we want to get as many bubbles as we can on these pieces inside the drink. And then I also will add some bubbles coming up, which this brush is not good about doing tip work. So I am getting a little bit of a line instead of a dot here and there. And that is enough of the tiny bubbles. Maybe I'll add like a little bubble circle, which I mostly will do with the 320s, but this one gives a little bit more of a delicate feel. Okay, that's a bit too much, but that's fine. It's fine. Maybe I can pull it out with this. My brush is splitting. I don't like that. Let's not split, please. Okay, yeah, I can't get that out enough. It's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and dip this in here, and then we're going to make the bigger dots around the pieces. And keep in mind, we want to not have too many big dots over the small ones because we want it to look very fizzy and not so much just cover it completely. I do see that I forgot to detail the rose on this, which is not a big deal because of all the dots making it hard to tell. I missed a detail. That's all it is. Okay, cat, no, we're not coming up here. Then I'm just adding some dots into the drink that were slightly bigger than the ones I added with the 20-0. And da-da-da, there's that. And now we'll make some bubbles, like some actual circles here. Just here and there. They look a little bit bigger. Okay. That is looking good. Now I am also, with this 3-0 brush, I'm going to wet it so that way I can get a little bit more on the edges here, because this works better than dipping it all the way down. Sometimes, I should say. Come on. Come on. I know it's wet. Give me the thing I need, which is the white. And then I'm just going to highlight on the left side of the glass. A little bit of white here and there. Just to give it that feel of a shine. Add a little bit in there. Right there. And we're going to add some white on this side with the circles. That one white area did not get as vibrant. There we go. Did not get as vibrant as I would have liked. I'm going to do a little white over here, a very small amount, just to suggest the glass has that white going all the way around it. So this piece is now done. Now I just have to sign it, which I may or may not have forgotten to activate my black, which is fine. I can activate it right now. It's not a, doesn't need to be a super dark black, but I'm not waiting for it to activate. I'm just gonna sign right away, because that black is pretty good. As you can see, it's very dark even without the activation. So the reason you activate your paints is to get a stronger pigment, which if you're trying to do delicate watercolor, you can just spray your paint and immediately start playing with it. But the longer it sits on the pigment, the more the pigment will mix into the water. And that's why I activate them. That's why a lot of watercolorists, the popular ones you see, will activate it before painting with it. So there's one more drink down, 3 more to go. Okay, I think it was like 1306. I gotta remember. Gotta put some things down for the kids. Okay. Now, is my crust dry enough? That is the question. And then I think I don't want to do the green beer yet, because that's going to really darken my water. I'm going to do the champagne one, which is my New Year's Day one. And I will be putting all the sparkle into the sparkler, so that way it has a nice bright shine to where it's lighting up and the sparks are coming out. So while that one is mostly dry, I think I can do the juice here, and I think I can do the darker parts of the brown. So I'm going to come in with, let's start with the pie here. I'm going to come in with coffee, which no, is not made from actual coffee. Hopefully, yes, in the future when I say that, it will be. I would love to paint with coffee. I don't know why. I think it would just smell so good. So I'm just going to add some slightly darker spots here. And then we're going to kind of crusty it down here. Just kind of blending this out a little bit to give darker crust locations. And I think what I'll do for the inside is I'll add a little bit more yellow into the browns. That way it can feel a little bit more, or maybe beige. I might add beige. Just that way it can feel a little bit more like a filling and not just the crust. We're going to add a little dot there for the fold over. Okay. I think that's looking good. My hand is shaking because I'm trying to do small details without overdoing it. And the key to a nice, realistic looking pie is to not overdo the details. I think with this pie on that right side, I'm going to blend out. I don't know who that is. I really don't know who that was. Go. So that's a little bit more blended. So I didn't want that to be too dark here. I think I overdid it on the detail, but I can blend it out, which will give a another layer of dark to it. And then I need to drop in some more dark on that side. And I don't want it too dark. I'm trying to pick up some of that water here. That way it can dry faster and not mess up other areas. Come in with that dark again. And because it's slightly wet, it will fuzz a little bit. Trying to fuzz it a little better. Then we're going to go in here and take a little bit right through there. Okay. That is the pie filling. And then for the apple cider, I think I took Naples yellow, and I'm going to mix a little bit of golden yellow into it. So I'm going to use this little pan up here on my make yourself paint set, or made myself paint set. I'm just going to add a little bit of water, some Naples yellow, which is going to lighten up in here. Do a little bit more Naples yellow. And then wash the brush so I'm not mixing my color in. I'm going to come in with this yellow just to brighten it up. I could do the fluorescent yellow to lighten it up, but the fluorescent will cause a much brighter activity than I would like. So we're just kind of mixing in this yellow here. Yes, I forgot to wash the brush. Not a big deal because I'm just grabbing more yellow into what it's going to be mixed into. And as you guys can see, that's creating a nice kind of apple cidery color. I might add a touch of orange and do a little bit more Naples yellow because that got a little too dark or too bright. Come on, a little bit more. And I think the touch of orange will get it just right here. So I'm going to do straight orange instead of golden yellow. Probably should do golden yellow, but I don't want to overdo it. That was not enough of a touch of orange. Now that orange has a lot of yellow in it. There we go. Now it's back to orange. Okay. There we go. That's a nice touch of orange. So this is kind of thick, which means I do want to put more water in this because I don't want it to be too thick. I want it to be almost like a tea instead of paste. Or milk. I think they call the thickest version milk. So we're just going to kind of paint this on here. And as we go, I will make it thicker and thicker. That way I can have like shadows and stuff in here. And I just put that right over that apple, which is not ideal. It's going to start blending things. Yeah, that red is now bled into the whatever. It's fine. It's fine. I completely fucked it up. I'm gonna put that red candy back in here, and then some of that beige back in here. I mean, I guess it's okay that the apple bled a little bit because in the drink it is going to kind of bleed and mix. I just feel bad because I didn't want it to, and it didn't work correctly. Put too much water in there, and that is my own fault. So we're just kind of keeping this on the lighter side. It's a nice wash that we are mixing here. And again, I fucked up with that apple on the left. It's fine. I can probably fix it later after the cup is dried. So now that we got all of that mixed in, I'm going to take out some of the color up top here. That's just a little touch too much color. And this cup will also be a blue. I had 1, 2, 3, 4 gray cups, 1 red, and 3 blue. Is what I had decided on for this. And yes, that red is bleeding again on the right-hand side one. We will fix the left-hand side one later. I just need to kind of control that bleed right now. Make sure it's not too much mixing into that drink. This is why watercolor can be difficult. You never know how it's going to interact with other watercolor that you already put down. Okay, and then I'm going to do a slightly thicker bit down here. Let that kind of bleed upward. Just to give it a little bit more of a color change. And then I'm also going to put a nice thick bit of it up here at the rim where it changes from the side to the top. A little bit down this side for shadow. And now you guys can kind of see where that's going with. I might actually make the pie filling. I could make the pie filling this, which the pie looks dry enough. So let's go ahead. I'm going to take this mixture and I'm going to add a touch of yellow brown to it just so we can get that cinnamony color, and that might be a little too much brown, but it's fine. That will give us our nice pie filling. going to do that. And then, oh, we're going to lose some of these apples over here. I should have done the apples last. That might have been smarter. Yeah, we're losing some of those apples. It's fine. It's fine. So I'm just kind of lightly adding some brown here. The apples are mixing in. So I'm just going to go over the apples, and then we're going to replace them in later. So let's kind of wipe out that red from here. So apparently this is one of those I have to go from dark to light. You don't want to do that with watercolor because it doesn't work out very nicely. Very often, I should say. So we're going to continue with this filling here. It is adding a bit of red from the apples, which I guess is okay. But I wanted that nice yellower component. I'm taking out some of this water, A, so it dries faster, and B, so it's slightly lighter. So that way I can add the apples back in as we move along. I'm going to add the filling up here in these dots at the top. And I'm going to shadow where the apples go. So that way they have a nice dark filling around them. We're going to kind of do a little bit up here. I'm going to do a little bit up in this corner. And that should give a nice kind of filling feel to it. I think that's all I can do for this moment. I can add a little bit of this brown into the drink here, which might give it a little bit more of a layer. Which I think it did, so that looks good. Take that down and around. And then I don't see a lot of cinnamon on that back rim, so I'm going to come in with, I'm going to set this up here. I'm going to come in with that coffee again. We're going to add small dots here and there. Probably should use a lighter brown, but it's okay. These are going to be the darker, kind of burnt cinnamon parts. I don't know why someone would take a rim of a graham cracker and, you know, cook it, but this is going to be cooked. maybe the graham cracker was just too pasty. So the shine on this one is going to be the blue again on the cup, and then I'm going to do the silver of the plate also in shine. I haven't decided if I'm going to add a fork yet. I probably won't because I didn't sketch it in. But hey, that's an option. And I just realized I don't have my YouTube comments back up. Excuse me. Who said you could get rid of my YouTube comments? This iPad does not want to keep things active for some reason. Okay, so I'm going to do that. That is now drying. I'm going to come over here to the champagne one and take my bigger round brush, which is a freaking invisible size. Where is my size? Oh, there it is. Okay. That is a size. Oh my god. I think it's worn off. Yeah, it's supposed to be right here. I think it's worn off. I think this is a size 6. I don't know for certain. I'm going to dip it in the clean water, which apparently this brush wasn't clean, so, you know, that's always good. And then we're going to pour it all over the cup. Now, I would, for the sake of blending colors, I would normally do the raspberries, the wood, and the sparkler before doing the water. But because of the fact that it's watercolor and you don't want to do dark before light, as we saw from over here, it bleeds. I'm going to do the light first. So I'm just kind of mixing in here a lot of water. And then I'm going to do a light wash of yellow, a very light wash. And I'm going to use candy yellow for this. I'm going to start activating it. We're going to do a very, very light wash, almost like that light type. So we're just going to kind of put it a little bit up here, and then we're going to put a lot of it down there. But we're going to go ahead and wash this through to create a nice champagne color, which I think is beautiful. I love the candy yellow as a champagne. And it's got a nice bleed here of very light yellow accents. And we are finally, I need a little bit more, just a teeny bit more. We are going to add more yellow as it gets down to the bottom of the cup. So I'm going to add a little bit more yellow down here. That is way too much yellow. Clean the brush, get some clean water, and we're going to just kind of blend it through. Because as it gets lower, it's going to have more color because it's more concentrated, at least from what I've seen of wine. Sometimes it is, sometimes it does stay the same color, but I think I like the blending of it a little bit more when it's got the lighter top. And then once we are done with that, we can go in, and this is going to be the last layer. We are going to blend this out just a touch, but we're going to kind of come in and create some darker feel here. I think that's enough to where I can blend it. I'll just kind of soak up some of that color. We're kind of pushing it around to create a little bit more of like a natural feel with that darker color. This technique works better for like teas and stuff, but I think it works okay for this. So now that's got to dry. I think my brown's still wet. So I'm going to start in on the St. Patty's Day, which we're going to use that same technique we did on the champagne for New Year's. We are going to wet this entire cup. And we are going to use some greens, which I should probably wet and activate. I think I'm going to go with yellow green, fruit green, malachite green, and a bamboo or a deep green. I haven't decided on those. So I'm going to just activate and kind of wet up this cup because we have a lot of green going into this. I also am going to activate the sap green. That way I have colors for the shamrocks as well. I may not get to the shamrocks because I got to wait for it to dry, but we'll see how far we make it. As you guys can see, it's already been an hour, and I still have 3 paintings to finish. I should be able to finish them today, which will be nice, but I got to be careful and make sure they are done by Monday. Okay, that is nice and wet. That should be a good wetness for what I'm looking for. So the light green, the lightest green possible. We're just going to do a few drops here and there. And this is the foam of the beer. So it's going to be a nice light green, almost white. Kind of like that. That is a beautiful, beautiful light color for the foam. And I can add some light green drops here and there to make it a little bit more significant. But I'm not going to do too many, just to get this foam a little bit more foamy, if you will. Then I'm going to do the paint across here while it's still wet. We're going to do the paint across down here. This is where it's going to get a little bit more green, is down here. So just as it's reaching the foam, it's getting to that foamy light green color. Part of this is to block the darker green from going up into the foam. So if the light green goes into the foam, it'll just look like dots in the foam. If a darker green goes into the foam, it looks like I just didn't know what I was doing. So after that, we're going to go in with the medium, the fruit green here. This one is going to be not as much, but we're just going to kind of blend it with that yellow green. And get these hairs out of here, because apparently I have every hair on the planet wanting to come into these drinks right now. We're just kind of blending that fruit green with that yellow green, just to give it a little bit more of a separation here. And then once that fruit green is done, we're going to go in with malachite green. And that is going to be this kind of middle section. Again, we're not wanting it too thick. The more up it goes, the thinner we want it to be, because we want to have that gradation in this beer. I don't know if you guys have ever done a St. Patty's Day beer crawl or had a green beer. It's literally basically just food coloring, which it can be nice, but it's kind of weird in my opinion. All right, and now we're going to do a nice concentrated malachite green on the bottom here. So this one isn't going to be spread out as much, and give that nice dark green color at the bottom. And I think I am going to go with the deep green here for the final bit, because I want to keep in this vibrant green family. I could just do the malachite as a thicker, but I don't think with how thick I got it, I will be able to successfully complete that. Okay, so we're going to go with that deep green. And we're just going to drop it in here, kind of pull it up and play with it. And just kind of get that nice kind of blending going on here. Just to lighten that green up a touch, because it is a bit too dark of a green. We're just going to blend it out. Kind of get these a little bit more aligned as we would like. And we're also going to pull out some of that color here and there. Just try and create a little bit more of a, add some malachite here because it kind of disappeared. Just to give that nice variation in the cup. So that is the beer. That all now has to dry. Oh my goodness. Before I can do the next step. That's not my washing paint. That's my washing paint. So now we're going to let that dry. We're going to come back to the apple cider, basically, is what it is. And I think I'm going to start with the cup and then do the plate. Oh, I also have to add my apples back in. So let me get some more beige wet. And then get that candy apple reactivated as well. And the apples are in the inside, so I should be able to do the cup while also I should do a smaller brush for this. I should be able to do the cup while also fixing those apples. Okay, so now we're going to just kind of wet the cup around because I want this to be a nice light blue, and it didn't work that well without wetting the cup before on the Valentine's one. So we're just getting all these on here. That should be good. Get nice and wet. So that way I can make that light blue very light blue. So we're just going to kind of drop in some blue here and there. Just kind of drop it in just that way I can blend it out. And then we're going to start blending it out. And if you notice, that is creating a much lighter blue than what I was able to get on the Valentine's one. So this will feel a little bit more like glass and a little less like a blue cup. That doesn't have enough blue up there. I'm going to do a little bit more. I don't know why I keep getting dark colors with the water here, because it's not that dark of water. Blend this out here. Do a touch more blue here. A little too much blue, in my opinion. That's fine. I can move it around. Get that up there. Okay. So once that dries, which it looks like most of it is already dry, we're going to go ahead and do a darker blue in some areas, and it's okay that it's still a little wet because it is fuzzying my lines, which is nice. Oops. And this dark blue on the back, I'm not going to do a ton of it. I'm just going to kind of put it in where the shadows are. Do a little bit of lines down the triangle, and then some lines around the glass. There, that looks good. The next step is, once again, we go in with that indigo. Just a light amount here and there. We don't want a ton of it. It is going to bleed a little bit because it is still wet, but that's okay. Do a little bit of the shadowing. And then let's kind of take it over here. We'll kind of create layers with this. And once again, with this cup, we will also be pulling out the white just to highlight a few spots. Then we're going to do the super dark blue on this super wet side, apparently. It is very wet in that spot. We're just going to do a little bit here and there. We're going to line the cup rim. And we will be going in with that nice iridescent blue as well. Just that way I can kind of get it working the way I like. I think I'm actually going to make my own silver here. So I'm going to activate this a little bit, and I'm going to activate the white. That way I can mix a nice silver from that dark color that I have. I think I'm going to wait for the glass to dry before I go in with the iridescent blue and the gouache. So now I'm going to fix those apples. We're going to just kind of paint over where the apples existed. Same with over here. Now with the apple pie, it is harder to see the apples themselves because of the fact that they are in essentially the color. The apples are in the same color as the shadows in the filling. I'm not going straight after that red because that beige is white. So I'm going to let that beige dry a little bit, and then I will go after the red. Which this apple here, the second apple, the one on the right side, isn't too bad for the apple cider drink. So we're going to go ahead and let that dry for a minute, and we'll move on to the champagne. And this is where I'm going to need possibly some custom colors. I'm going to come back to this kind of ochre brown that I made. I'm going to lighten it up a little bit. And we're going to use this for the sparkler, which will have a nice shiny, silver shiny stick at the very bottom. Now, there is food safe sparklers that come in tubes. I did not pick the sparkler design that comes in the tube because this is more the classic recognizable one. So don't follow this drink exactly if you want to make this drink. It's literally just champagne with some raspberries and a sparkler sticking out of it. This particular sparkler is not food safe. Do not use it in food. Get the food safe one if you're going to recreate this. Okay, so that's done. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the brown, which I think I'm going to do a raw sienna for the pick that is holding the raspberries. And then I also need to do a nice bright red color here, maybe the cadmium red, just that way I can make the strawberries. I think I'm going to do cadmium red, so I can make the raspberries as accurately as possible. So we got a nice kind of brown here. In the yellow, it does look like a deeper, darker brown, so I might need to add some like yellow brown to it. Or some Naples yellow. Oh, it's raining, guys. It's finally raining. Hallelujah, it's finally raining. Okay, so there we go. We have a slight darker red. And then to give it a more natural feel with that lighter color, I'm going to go straight in while it's still wet. And just add that yellow as like a drop. So we're going to take this Naples yellow. We're just going to add it as a drop here and there where it would naturally highlight. And that'll cause that dark brown to blend a little better with that lighter color. Okay. Now when that dries, I can go in and detail it with an even darker brown if I wanted to. It would probably be the burnt umber that I went with, which is this one. Ooh, not greenish brown. There's a more greenish brown than burnt umber. Once that's fully dry, just so that way I can give a little bit more detail and shadowing where it needs to shadow. Now, this has got to dry before I can do anything else. So we're going back to our green beer. Do I remember what I need for the green beer? No. Why would I remember what I need for the green beer? Looks like I need that sap green that I did for the 4-leaf clovers, a gray for the cup, and gold for the coins. So I am almost done with this one already. I'm going to come in with that sap green for the 4-leaf clovers and the mint. Ooh, that was a shake. I might have to go close my window. It is hot as hell in here, but I don't know if I want that rain going sideways into my studio. Anyway, I'm going to do that sap green for that leaf, single leaf, and then the 4-leaf clover, which I can't fucking see right now. And just kind of come over this. This is going to be the best I can do based on the tiny amount of lines I can see. This is the downside to erasing your lines. As soon as they're covered, you can't see anything. So it looks like the cup was still a little wet on the green on the lower part because it is kind of bleeding here. The leaf is supposed to be on the outside of the cup and not in the cup in this case, so it's more of a design glass than it is a 4-leaf clover being in the cup. Because let's be honest, you're not going to find a lot of 4-leaf clovers here. I don't think I've ever seen a 4-leaf clover in real life. So with the 4-leaf clover, when it fully dries, we will be going over it with a nice gold to outline it for the cup portion. The one up here is not getting outlined because this one is supposed to be an actual 4-leaf clover that you put in your drink. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you will find one to be able to make this drink. So make it however you need to. Make it however it feels nice. It's a green beer. You know, just buy a beer, put some food coloring in it, and you're good. There's your special St. Patty's Day drink. So slowly and surely getting this nice 4-leaf clover color on here. It's enough of a green that I think I'll be able to keep it separate from the cup. That's part of why I did the gold outline on the sticker version of this, is because the cup definitely brings that green, too much green in, and it can be too much without a separate color to separate it. It just blends in basically. And yes, on the sticker one, I did forget to make it gold around the cup because you know what? It's not shiny. So the stickers I couldn't, print off the shine. So why would I add the shine? That is me forgetting things because it would also have the color, which would. This is a very pasty watercolor right now, which would actually. I don't have a lot of water in it. I need to add more water. But it would It would have the color that the printer would pick up, but it wouldn't pick up the shiny part of it. So I should have done it just so that way I can get the color in there. I'm gonna kind of wet this a little bit, give this a little bit more of a natural flow instead of being all streaky. There we go. Okay. So that's 4-leaf clover. I can't do anything with the cup because the clovers are both, well, the clover up here is wet. That one, it doesn't matter down there. So I gotta wait for this to dry. And now we just go back and forth. We're just going through all of them. So now we're gonna go in with that iridescent blue on the apple cider, the Thanksgiving one, which should still be wet, and it is. So we're just gonna go in with a little bit here and there again. We don't want it to be too much. We just want it to be enough to suggest a shine in this cup. Not going to do it up there. Now this is a much deeper blue than what was portrayed here. So it is going to stand out a little bit, which is why I also want to do very, very small amounts. Enough to see that shine, but not enough to distract from the cup. Yeah, like that. And then I did talk about making that silver. I do want to wait a little bit for that blue to dry, but let me go ahead and mix some of that white here with this blacker color and see if we can't make a nice silver, which it already looks like it is. It's a little on the dark side, so we're going to want to come in with more white to lighten that up. So that color that I have on that palette right there was a mixture of purple, white, and black. Mainly the purple and black, as you can see, because it's so dark. The white just kind of added an extra level. And right now this white is adding our silver. So that is looking good. That is a nice, pretty silver. So we're going to let that dry for a minute. Not the lid, but the blue on here. While that blue is on there, I can do the bleed-proof white, the gouache, and get the shine on this cup. So we're going to get that shine on here. Just a little bit here and there. A little bit on this side. A little bit in the triangle and on the roundabouts. So every time I make this cup, I've done it probably about 3-4 times now. It does change a little bit each time. And honestly, I don't know if I want to give these to the Art League because I do kind of want to sell them. But at the same time, I don't want to not have my shine on here to where I could scan and print it multiple times, if that makes any sense. Need a little bit more of that white. The white is getting kind of dry, so it's hard to activate. It's getting lower, so it's even harder to get to access. Okay. I am going to add you know what? I can add some gold onto that crust. That sounds amazing, actually. I think I'm going to add some gold to that crust. So I do have a nice kind of golden yellow here that I think I'm also going to go ahead and activate. Just a little bit. I don't need a lot of it. So we're just going to kind of wet that up. I know that was not the best brush for wetting, but that's what we're going to do. I do need the silver on this one. I could technically take that silver on that palette, but I want to have my own custom silver, which is getting turned black because it keeps pulling up that black instead of staying silver. So we're going to lighten this up a lot. Now, if you don't like silver, the grayish silver that you get from the white and black mixture, you can add a touch of yellow and maybe like some orange to it, which will give it a little bit more of a more vibrant, brighter feel. I just don't want to do that because I don't like it. So I'm going to go in with my thin 3-0 brush, pick up that silver that I got here, kind of mix it in and then pick it up. And we're going to do some silver at the very bottom of the stick to create that shiny silver handle. Again, the spray up here is going to be the biggest thing that is yellow, so I should actually probably activate some yellows and gold. So I'm going to activate my custom yellow, some gold over here, yellows over there, you know, what we're good at. And then the reds are still pretty active, so I can go ahead and go after those raspberries. I'm going to go back to my size 2, I think it is, right? Yeah, you size 2. Yeah, size 2 round brush. I'm going to dip. Not drip. There's no R in that. I'm going to dip in that cadmium red that I have. I'm just going to kind of dot it along here. It's not going to be perfect because of the fact that it's all wet, so it's going to bleed together. But I am going to make sure that it looks kind of raspberry shaped by dotting it. I do have way too much water in this cadmium red. It's going to take forever for it to dry. Okay, not really forever, but it's going to take a while. And then once it's dry, we'll go in with a slightly brighter red on the left side and a darker red on the right, which honestly might be smarter to do now while it's still wet, so that way I can have a more natural bleed, actually. So I might go in with that brighter red now and the deeper red after, or as well. And we're just kind of dotting this to make it more strawberry-like. So now we're going to go in with that bright red. Make sure it's nice and bright, nice and pigmented. We're just going to dip on this side just to kind of lighten up the area. It is getting some of that dark red in there. So I want that brighter red. It is not a perfect match of brightness versus shade because they are very close together. But I am going to go in, not candy apple, I need wine red. I'm going to go in with a little bit of wine red, not super activated, and just dip it on the other side where the shadow would be, which will cause a little bit more of a blended look with that shadow. And again, I don't want that too activated because I don't want it to be too deep here. We're just going to kind of come in on this one in that middle. Just push that darker out. And then we're going to put that brighter in again. And that should be good. It is bleeding up a little bit on that stick. That's because the stick was still wet. That's fine here. I just need to come in with that Naples yellow, kind of push that red out. There we go. Okay. So those are the raspberries and the sparkler. We are not done with it. I could probably go in straight with the sparkles. So let's go ahead and do the sparkles real quick. I'm going to do a nice wet blend up here because I want it to have a nice hole in its color. So I'm going to go in with this yellow that I made, and I'm going to kind of brush this in to this circle where it is more active and is like the main center of a spark. And then I'm actually going to go in with the white straight, and right at the middle, I'm going to push that white down, which will push out the yellow a little bit, but it will also give that natural center color. After that, I'm going to slowly incorporate my yellows in and out. So I'm going to start with this lightest yellow, which is supposed to be light gold, I think is what it is. Yeah, light gold. It looks almost white, but we're going to go ahead and start drawing lines out. And just kind of creating these sparkler effects. Where the lines kind of turn into sparkler stuff. We will also be adding dots and things to make it a little bit more fun. And we'll be adding slightly lighter yellows or slightly darker yellows as we go along. Oops, that's a lot. I did not mean to do that much. Let's go ahead and just take some of that, and we're just gonna push it over. Yeah, I did way too much on that one. I did not realize I picked up that much water. Let's kind of pull some of this water out. There we go. Okay, that's a little better. Anyway, so we are doing the faint lines that come out of it. There's a hair on my thing already. Why do I always find hairs? And I'm trying not to cover up the dots behind because, let's be honest, those dots behind would still be visible through the light. So we're just kind of going in with that light yellow, having little tiny dashes here and there. And now we're going to go in with that deeper yellow because as that dries, it's going to be harder to see. So we're just going to kind of add some extra lines here and there. And I might do some nice dark yellow, it's a dark yellow, golden yellow stuff with the dots around that spark off. There, that seems to be pretty good here. Kind of make that a little bit more defined. And I'm going to go in with this golden yellow. I didn't need the actual gold color like I thought I would. We're just going to kind of add some dots here and there for sparks. And that gives that 3-layer that 3-layer color changed for a little bit more definition. In reality, the only color I needed for these sparks was the light gold, because a lot of sparklers are just essentially a light color that comes off of them because they're literally made of light. But this is me. I gotta be extra. Then we're gonna go back in with that white because it's looking like that yellow is pulling too much. I might go in with the yellow in my palette here. I think I'm gonna go in with the yellow for my palette just to brighten up this yellow. I don't want it to be too murky, and apparently the yellow I made is a little on the murky side. Then we're going to go back in with that white and just dip that in there to create that nice center of brightness. That should be good. Once that's all drained and good, yes, I see the brown that is now red. Looks like all the browns that are touching the red are now red, so it's fine. It's fine. It's whatever. Trying to pull some of that red out so I can go back over once it's dry with the brown. I don't want to do the brown right now because that would be too much water in that area and it would just cause more bleeding, more problems. Okay, so now that one's dry enough that we can wait. So the gold I did actually need for this one, now that I think about it. So I didn't do the wrong thing. I am going to take a little bit of this deep green, and I'm going to line this leaf here and create that nice differential. And now I'm going to go through and do the coins and then the leaf down there. I'm going to start with the leaf down below, and I'm going to put this tiny 2 brush on the side, and we're going to take our 3-0 brush. We're going to activate this gold here, which should have already been activated, but whatever. Water didn't want to water today. And we're going to outline this clover. This gives it more of a feeling of it being on the glass versus actually being a part of the drink. Now, I could go in with the 3-0 brush to make the coins, but at the same time, I don't want to be sitting here painting for a hot minute because this liner brush does very, very small amounts, and you have to dip a lot to get that gold color where you want it to be. So now that looks like it's on the outside. The leaf is on the inside. I'm guessing it's a mint leaf because, you know, whatever. That's what that looks like to me. Then let's go ahead with that small 2 round, and we're going to do the gold coins. Now, I do have a slight gold over here. I was going to use that on something. I don't remember what. What was I going to use it on? I don't know. But we will... I might use it on these coins to kind of darken them a little bit. Give these shadows of the coin, if you will. Now those are some real pretty coins. I love this gold. It's so pretty. It's not my goldliest gold from Culture Hustle, but it is a very pretty gold nonetheless. I don't want to waste my goldliest gold on these, especially since I'm giving them for free to my art league. They're not paying for them. I don't want to waste my good product on that. Now, I do believe that gold should be activated. Just in case, I'm going to go ahead and spray it anyway. I'm just going to do a little tiny spray. And my silver turned back to black, so we're going to bring this back out. Thankfully for the apples, they're not anywhere near the silver, so I can go in and fix the apples red. But I want that silver first, so I'm going to go ahead and mix that back up so it's not just sitting in the dark color. We can see that white in it, and then we're going to go ahead and just paint over this plate with a nice shiny silver, which is actually really pretty. I like this combination of the black and the white shine. I don't have a silver mica powder to make a straight silver, mica powder or watercolor, but I may mix some of the black and the white together and see if I can make some silver coloration from that, because silver mica powder is really expensive and I don't want to pay for it because I'm a butt like that. So anyway, I don't want to pay for the silver, and I'm going to darken this to make that the inner line of the plate. So don't worry, this will be a darker. But if I mix the silver and black initially, or the white and black initially, maybe I can mix my own silver, and that'll be nice. I'm tempted to make the apple sides red, shiny, because this doesn't have enough shine on it. It has a lot of shine, but I want more shine. All the shine. So candy apple is this one. So let's go ahead and dip and give that some more water. We're going to go ahead in here with that 3-0 brush, and we're going to put that red apple back on there. We're just going to clean up all the lines. Then we're going to do a little bit of red lines down here. Probably should use the 20-0 brush just to get a thinner line, but it's okay. It is perfectly okay. Now the best apples for an apple pie are technically skinned, but I decided not to do skin. But I see an apple right here, so we're gonna add an apple right there. Then I'm gonna come in with that beige on that. It's gonna be a little hard to see because of the red I just put in, and hopefully it doesn't all bleed together. But we're just gonna kind of put that apple right there. Yeah, that looks good. Now we're gonna wait for that to dry, and we will do the line of the silver cup. We are at an hour and a half, and we are almost done with all 3 of them. Not quite all of them, but you know, we're getting there. I'm gonna go back in now on these. No, it's still really wet. I am gonna go back in. I think I'm gonna go back in now. It's fine. With that raw sienna on the stick, just to give it a little bit more of a stick feel. Kind of darken that. Give that brown back in there. Get that brown nice and in there. Then we're going to go back in with that Naples yellow. Lighten up where it should be. A little bit of Naples yellow there. And then once that's dry, we'll go in with the dark coffee color, and then we'll finish that. I am going to add a touch of very light yellow brown. So I'm going to pick up the yellow brown, dip it in my water to lighten it a couple times. And then I'm going to add little dots along the sparkler, because these aren't always necessarily super white. They are super tan, if you will. They do tend to have a little bit of a kind of like a spotty look to them because of the coating on it, I guess. I can't word right now. So this champagne glass is almost done. The only thing I think I have left on it is the blue, and then the like the blue lining around it, and then that will be done. The cup for the I forgot to white line them. I am going to go ahead and white line this one real quick. So when you look at a cup, it does have an area of reflection that you can't see what's inside the cup at the very lid of it. So I'm just going to take this 3-0 brush. I'm just going to add a little white line up here at the top for that reflection. And then I am going to add it to this cup as well, which looks like it might be dry enough already for me to go ahead and do the dark silver here. Cat, why you smell so bad? Did you just poop? I swear you just pooped and you came in here and you smell bad. Oh yes, this is where I was also going to do the golden yellow. That's right. It was on this this pie here. So we're just going to do a little bit as highlight here and there. A little bit down here. I think my cat just came in here after doing their business, and it smells. You are a smelly girl. And then a little bit right here. And that should be good for some shine effect on the pie. I've got the shine on the blue glass. I can do some shine up here too on the cracker, on the graham cracker crust. Just a little bit here and there. Nothing too major. I see you, girl. You are not coming up into my lap while I am working. Mom is working. You can stop trying to push your way around my hand. I see you. I love you. Do I need to take a paint break and just pet you for a minute? Mom gotta pet you for a minute? You're still skinny. I need you to eat more. Your sister's starting to get bigger now that brother isn't guarding his food. But I need you to get bigger too, okay? Can you eat your food? Can you eat all your food? Have you been eating your food, or your sister been eating your food? Because you definitely still feel skinny. Yes, I know. You need a bath. You need a bath badly. Rubby, rubby, rubby. Rub, 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 rub. Okay. Now we had our cat break. And I hear stomping, which means I'm about to get interrupted. Because, you know, why wouldn't we stomp into Mom's office? Coffee. Coffee, coffee, coffee. So now with this the silver plate, I'm going to come in. I'm going to pick up some more of this darker black to make a darker kind of silver, which I think that will be good. Let me get my swatch sheet here and see if it's good. That should be nice and dark. Okay. And then I'm going to come in with this dark silver. And we're just going to outline the center part of that plate. Which, yes, it is definitely a significant difference. So we can see where that plate comes in. And then I'm also going to outline the outside rim of the plate. And we could go in and do a design, but that would be too much effort for me. I don't want to do a plate design right now. It could be very simple. I could just do like 3 lines with blue and then some green coming down, like a floral pattern. I don't know. Maybe I will. That does kind of sound pretty. I might activate my blue and green on my mixture palette. There. That looks good. It's not the easiest to see the line from an angle because it's so shiny, but it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. All right, the blue should technically still be active because I put the honey in it, which should keep it more active than other. But I am going to activate the green as well. Now, I do have a lot of shiny colors in this palette over here on the left, and not just the ones I made, but I like the ones I made. They have a bigger shine, in my opinion, so I like using those more than the other. So I'm going to slide that up. I think this gear, at least the coins, are ready for their shadow color. So I'm going to come in now with this golden yellow. We're just going to add the shadow of the coin here. It is slightly darker, so it's not a significant change. It still looks gold, but it's enough that you can see that is an entirely different side to it. Now, I remember at one point I did add like a 4-leaf clover on these. So I'm going to just go ahead and do a small design of a 4-leaf clover suggestion with this darker color. But it's not going to be perfect. Especially with the angle these coins are at, you're not going to see a lot of the 4-leaf clover. Especially since I can't draw it at a very small amount, apparently. And then little stem. Okay. So that gives a little bit of difference. So that cup is ready for the gray outline. The pie is almost done. I just need to add the floral design that I decided I was going to do. And this cup is just down to the blue outline. So once again, I am going to water this down. I'm going to take my slightly bigger brush, my round 2. I'm going to water this down to get that nice sky blue color. And then we'll do the outline from there. Because this is very, very light blue. Not super dark. but the lining around it will be a bit darker. I will have to wait for this kind of light blue to dry, so that way I don't get a bleed at the top of the cup for the rim. So we're going to come in with that light blue. Just going to drop it a few places here, wash off the brush, and then just spread it around. And that creates that nice light blue color that we see from glass. Now, while that's drying, I can go down the sides, and this is going to be a slightly darker blue, not super, but enough. So this, we're going to go down the sides and just encapsulate that champagne. This one goes all the way around because of the fact it is the lightest blue you will see on this. But keep in mind, this is a nice dark blue, which will stand out from that light blue. Mostly because it's a more concentrated blue than what we did up here. I do want to darken the rims a little bit, but I'm not going to go, like I said, I'm not going after that rim until it's fully dry with that light blue. Otherwise, my lines are just going to intermingle. So we're going to go with the darker blues down here. And we're just going to kind of lightly add here and there. Now that is a bit on the wet side. I didn't mean to make it that wet. It's fine though. Super dark blue. And then of course we're going to go in with that glitter blue. Which this, did I dip in the right one? Yeah, I dipped in the right one. This dark blue looks a little too close to the other blue that I did. Now I'm going to go ahead and dip in that sparkle blue, which yes, is still very wet. I appreciate the honey keeping it so wet. Just kind of add this here and there. And then, yeah, it's bleeding up top where I put that sparkle blue. So we got to wait for that to fully dry. Oops, I didn't mean to drop water on it. That's why I brushed my brush off before touching it, after I touched the water. Ah! Okay, so that's good there. And then that's going to dry with that light blue. And we're going to, yeah, we've almost got all three of these done. This is cool. So now I'm going to go in with that blue on this plate, and we're going to make a 3-petal design. So we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3. We're just going to kind of make this little floral design on the outside of the plate. Okay. And then we're going to go in with that 3/0 rigger brush because I want a nice thin green line coming from the bottom of it. We're going to mix that water in with that green. So we have a nice, beautiful, vibrant green color. We're just going to pull it down and do 2 little leaves, which that green is not as vibrant as I would like. That was more water than color. So we're just going to kind of, that might be an issue with this green. It's not very, oop, okay, well, that's green. That's fine. Okay, I overdid the water. Gonna try and get that green in here because of the fact that it's got a lot of water in it, which is why it's so light. I'm trying to get the nice vibrant green with the nice water that pulls that green up. And unfortunately, I have a paw up there, which is fine. It's fine. It's not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's watercolor. If it was perfect, we'd all be questioning it. The whole point is to see how the water flows and the paint interacts with each other in a way that you can't control it, really. Then there would be a flower here. So I'm going to do the green, but not show the petals of the flower. That way it suggests that there's one there without actually being there. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can dab off these greens here. Try and pull these up a little bit so I can get a second chance here. There's that one. So what I'm doing is called the lift technique. While it's still wet, you can just take a dry brush or a bigger brush and dip it in where the water is. This will also help with pooling and like those lines that you see on some watercolor stuff. This will help with the pooling in those lines to make it so you can try again without waiting 20 years for it to dry. My only problem with this green is it's just not pigmented enough. I don't know if I just didn't use enough mica powder or what, because it's a very, very light green. And maybe I just didn't use a good dark green for the mica powder. That could be the reason too. So I might also make a nice dark green to put in this center bit, because there are a lot of green colors for mica powder. I just didn't use them. Okay, so if you look at these, they're kind of like making an arrow, really. And now that I look at that, that's all I can see, is just making an arrow with the leaves. Now, it would be fun to do a little purple on the inside of the plate, kind of like a filigree, but I don't know if I want to. That feels like maybe a bit too much. But this is why physical art is fun. Once you do something, you can't undo it. Okay, there we go. Now I'm starting to get some purple. So we're just going to add a little bit of filigree on the inside here. And I may have to pull some of that already here. Because that one filigree spot at the first initial has a bit too much water. So we're just going to pull that up. Pull up right here. We're just going to fix those two filigree spots. And yes, this is all shine. This is going to be a very shiny plate, but it's fine. Everything is fine. There we go. That looks good. I have ADHD, and shiny things make my brain go burr and happy and make dopamine. So what I might do at the end here is I might actually make paint instead of swapping to the rat pig piece, just because of the fact that we are almost at 2 hours, and about 30 minutes after that is going to be, actually I might finish these. These will take me to the 2 hour mark. And then I have 30 minutes, which wouldn't be enough time to make much watercolor. Maybe make one in that time. I don't want to do that. So how am I going to play this? How am I going to play this? How am I going to play this? I'll just end it, the 2 hour. When these are done, I'll just end it wherever we're at. I'll try to take my time and, get you the full 2.5 hours here, but we may be ending at the 2 hour mark today. So now I'm going to go ahead and sign this piece. There we go. That's looking good. And the Valentine's one should be fully dry by now, so I could put it away, but I'm probably not going to yet. I just want to make sure these are all perfectly dry before I do it. However, I do have to take them downstairs with me, so I am not fully thinking this through. Do I need to add, did I add champagne? I did add champagne bubbles. So I do need to wash that one still for the champagne bubbles, which the red is not fully dry yet. I need to finish that dry on the, raspberries. But the blue on top has dried, so I can go up here and start adding some lines and whatnot. Okay, so I added some shine up there. Now to go with that indigo again. And then the super dark color, which is titanium blue. Which the indigo and the titanium blue are very close together in their coloration here. Need a little bit less thickness and more fluid movement. I think that looks good. Now this pale yellow of the, I'm going to go with Naples yellow. This pale yellow here on the cup, or on the champagne, looks really good, but I need to line it here to give that rim of the drink. There, that looks a little better. Okay, then we're going to go in with that Naples yellow where that brown has fully dried, and we're just going to add it back in here again. That way we can get a nice clean coloration. And then when that's fully dry, we do have to do, oh, I mean, it's got enough bubbles on it, you probably won't notice the darker lines, but let's go ahead and I'm going to add the darker lines now. I'm going to do it with a bit of coffee. We're just going to kind of darken it a little bit. On the one side, just to give it a little bit more oomph, if you will. Oops, that's a little too much coffee. There we go. Okay. So now we gotta wait for those raspberries to fully dry. And then we can do all the bubbles, and that should be done for that one. This one I did a gray, so I'm going to be using that silver to line it. And then I'm also going to be using the grays over here. So I need to activate the grays. Oh, my back. My back is in pain. Like I said, I got a bunch of pictures printed out for my Has Originals book. Now with the cup for the St. Patty's Day, I did take it down a little bit. So that way I could, what's the word I'm looking for? So that way I could have that base that you usually have with a mug. So I'm going to take this lighter gray and we're just going to put it right here, which apparently is not going to want to puddle because why would it puddle? And we're going to add a bunch of water to it because I want a nice light gray here. Okay, that should be good. And now we're just going to put this nice light, oh, that is so dark still. We're going to put this nice gray on here for the back of the cup. In that kind of space where the cup shines, but it doesn't necessarily have a rim. We're just kind of blending this out. And then that's going to have to dry before we do the next step, which it looks like it's already starting to dry. It's pretty quick, it looks like. And then down here, we're going to add another small gray spot, which will have some more of the darker grays in it, just as the base of the mug. The splatter is trying to pull up on this base of the mug. I don't want that to happen, but it may end up happening anyway. I should add a little bit more dark gray on this side, actually. Kind of blend this over into this dark gray corner over here. Okay. And that top already looks fully dried. Okay, that works. I can live with that. We'll put that up there because we will be using that silver, but we're going to go in with a solid gray, light gray, and then we're just going to go in and kind of line the cup in different areas. Just to kind of get that emphasis of the, I need more water in this, just to get that emphasis of the cup on the outside. Now keep in mind, this gray that I'm using currently is the same gray I used for the glass backgrounds on both sides. So this is just a matter of value changes using water. And they come very much in handy. So I'm just going to create a little bit of a glass rim down here. And I think that's all I need for that gray. We're going to go one step up to this darker gray. And we're just going to continue lining with the dark gray. I'm going to fully line this rim up top. And then I will go over it with the silver on the areas that I want to add silver. So we're doing the darker gray in all of these areas. And yes, the darker gray doesn't look that different. It's supposed to be like gray and light gray, but unless you value it with the water, it looks almost exactly the same, which is frustrating to say the least. Okay, so we're adding some of that gray. Then we're going to come down here and line the rest of that mug. Okay, so now I just need to put in that silver wherever I'd like. I might do a mixture of light silver and dark silver. So I did grab the big brush for that. I should have grabbed my medium brush. We're going to start with the light silver. So the one down here, which I need to reactivate. Okay, there we go. We're just going to line with the lighter silver first. Just going to, like I said, give those hints here and there for the shine of the glass. And then every gray I make is going into this bottom part here. All right, that looks good. And now I'm going to go in with this darker silver that I made. And we're going to go in some other areas. And then this will also create a nice contrast in color here. There we go. That glass looks pretty good. I think I like it. I'm not sure 100%, but I kind of like it. I do have that shiny green that I could go around this 4-leaf clover with. I don't know if I will. I think I'm just going to do the lines on the clover, just to give it a little bit more oomph here. There, that got a lot of the green on there. So we're just going to kind of line out from each of these with that green. I don't know if I want to do that, but I'm going to do that. We're going to do some lines on this one. I think I'm actually going to replace that stem with this shiny green. We're going to do some lines on this one. This one I'm just going to leave as an X. There we go. Yeah, I think I like the X better than what I did up here. I don't like what I did. It's fine. So all this beer needs now is that rim. And then this one, is it dry enough? It looks dry enough, so all we need is the gouache on this one as well. So here's where we get to play with all the white. I'm going to start with the rim, which needs a slightly thicker line. So we're just going to play that rim right here. And now I'm going to swap over to the 20/0 brush. And we are going to do the tiny dots just like we did on the Valentine's drink. So we're just going to do a lot of tiny dots. Just all over the place. Now you shouldn't see the dots too well in the yellow just because it is a nice light bright yellow. That doesn't mean you won't see them at all and thus don't have to do it up there. You gotta stay consistent even if you don't see what the consistency is. I promise it will make a difference. Remember, anything sticking in the drink or in the champagne where it's bubbly will have a lot of bubbles on it. So make sure to put a lot of dots on anything inside of the drink that has fizz. There we go. And then adding some more dots over here. Because again, the fizz is going to really attach to anything on the inside of the drink. Now I'm going to add some bubbles. Maybe. Bubble. No, you're not going to bubble? You're just going to be a 2-dot thing situation? Yeah, okay. That's fine. So the bubble circles are not so easy with the 20/0 brush, but it's fine. And then once that is done, I'm going to go ahead and come in with the 3/0 brush. We're going to make slightly bigger dots. Not super big. We're just going to kind of put those big dots everywhere, especially on the stuff, again, that is inside the drink, because it would fizz like crazy around those drinks. We're just kind of adding the bigger dots everywhere. And the bigger dots is where you're going to see it more up in the light area. Okay, so that is nice and fizzy. And now I just need to do the little circles here and there. The bigger fizz bubbles. I think that looks good. I am not going to complain about it. I like it. Yeah, I like it. So now I need to sign this one, which I'm going to pull out my 2 brush because it's easier to control my signature. Activate that black again, which should be relatively activated considering I've dipped in it so many times. And then we're just going to sign it. Need a slightly darker black for this paw. Pigment isn't doing super great here, but that's okay. So that one is done. And now I just need the white on this one for under the rim and then my signature. So I'm going to start with my signature because I've already got that out. Okay, maybe not. It dried up. It's like no activation for you. Okay, so there's that pad. Circle, circle, circle. And then, oh, that was a loud thud. That's concerning. Okay, so I've got those pads, and now I'm going to go ahead and do the white under the rim. Just ever so slightly under the rim here, because it is going to take out part of my coin. It is not giving me enough of the white for near the coin. There we go. Okay. And that looks good. So we have finished 4 cards today, and I should be good for the drop off from my art league. So I appreciate you guys understanding the slight swap in program today. I will continue with the rat pig painting on Monday, and I think that's all I'm down to. Pretty sure I'm just down to the rat pig painting Monday. And the anniversary piece. I need to finish the anniversary piece. It is going to have a 3D element that I'm not disclosing yet. So that is part of why I need to finish the anniversary piece and why it's not done yet. I totally forgot about the 3D element while making it on stream. But I have remembered it now, so we will do it on Monday. And then we will hop into the rat pig piece. And then I might start on Wednesday. I know I'm going to record it and post a YouTube video, but I might Wednesday actually go in and start watercolor making on stream. I'm going to record it so you guys will always have an option to follow it later. And I will do a voiceover for that piece. Yeah. It's pretty easy to make watercolor. I just am struggling to make watercolor like the Lizzie Linka brand, which is super, super pretty and super, super glittery. I want it so bad, but I don't have $200 to spend on a more than 3 color palette. I think it's like 12 colors for like 200, and it's normally 130, but then tariff fees, because we gotta have tariffs, make it almost 200. Anyway, I appreciate y'all joining me today. I hope you guys had fun finishing up these watercolor postcards with me. I will be back Monday between 1 and 4-ish, 1 and 3:30. So 1 to 3:30, and we will do more arts. So I appreciate y'all, guys. I love you all, and I will see you guys then. Oh, I can't get to the bye. There it is. Bye!